Hello, this is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and today I wanted to go over the year-to-date data for 2023. We are approaching the end of November. As I record this, it's actually almost noon on Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. And, first time I had some downtime in quite a while after the holiday and figured I would actually just reach out or make a video to show kind of what we're looking at year to date so far, since we're coming into the home stretch here. At the very end, by the way, I will give just a quick tease of what my prediction is for the first part of 2024 as well. So basically, before we get started, the shaded area in blue, this is where I primarily serve. So I'm actually located out of the Medina office, but I live in Strongsville. And basically, I'll do anything within an hour radius of Strongsville. So I've done deals in Lorraine, I've done deals in Sullivan, I've done deals in Akron and Mogador, in Northfield, Garfield Heights, Euclid, Willoughby, Mentor, Eastlake, all of that kind of stuff too. But this is my bread and butter right here, is in this blue shaded area. So that's where all of the statistics are going to come from today. And with that being said, let's just dive right in. So the first thing that I wanted to go over is the sales price average, because this is what most people are actually interested in, is, okay, what is the average sale price for a home? And I have three different slides for us here. The first one is actually just the past 5 years data for us to compare to. So it actually dates back to 2018, which in that area that we were looking at, the average sale price was just under $214,000. We saw a $12,000 increase from 2018 to 2019. We saw a big increase, a $23,000 increase from 2019 to 2020. And as you can remember, I'm sure that's when, March of 2020, that's when the whole world shut down, basically. And starting, May, June, July, that's when things started opening back up. The Federal Reserve lowered their federal funds rate to 0, and interest rates were sub 3% for a lot of people. So that really opened the doors up for a lot of people, a lot of buyers to qualify for more expensive homes. And as a result, we started seeing a buying frenzy, and it was a very, very strong seller's market. Still is a strong seller's market, but with interest rates the way they are now, it's definitely slowed things down just a bit. So from 2020 to 2021, so again, we had a $23,000 increase there. It was basically the same. We saw a $24,000 increase, not quite, from 2020 to 2021. My dog is sleeping and barking in the background if you hear that. 2021 to 2022, we saw another large increase, $28,000 and change. And that's where basically things started to slow down, because in January of 2022, and many of you already know this, but January of 2022, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage nationally was about 3.1%. By the time we hit November of 2022, that had risen from that 3.1% all the way up to 7.375. So more than doubled, really put the brakes on the housing market. Some economists actually say that the housing market went into a recession starting in June of 2022. So slowed things down considerably. That being said, Northeast Ohio is pretty resilient. This is our Study Eddy market, where even though we are seeing, average sale prices increase $25,000 per year over the past few years, compared to nationally, that's actually not terrible, to be honest. And then finally, from 2022 to 2023, we finally saw the slowdown, but despite what you may be thinking or hearing from national news outlets, we did see an increase here in Northeast Ohio. So again, the areas that I serve most, I'll pull that map up, but the areas that I serve most saw an increase for the average sale price by 4.08% from 2022 to 2023. So that number might drop just a hair. I'd say maybe maybe closer to 4% as opposed to the 4.08, just because the month of December will likely see numbers decline a little more, and we'll see the average sale price for the year of 2023 drop down a little below the 314. But how amazing is that? And that, like, when you just look at the average sale price from 2018 to 2023, it's $100,000 different. And that's why I love real estate. As far as a wealth building tool, even if you're just buying your primary residence, that is huge. I prefer to, if you're going to use the equity for, whether it's a HELOC or a cash out refinance, I hope that you're using it wisely and not just spending it on vacations, but to each their own, because that money is there, and if you're doing well and you can afford it, then that's awesome that you get to tap into the equity of your home, where you could have, and this isn't saying that it's the exact same house, but again, this is the average sale price. But yeah, $100,000 is what you've gained in 5 years. Now imagine if you bought rental properties and you bought 1 or 2 rental properties within that time period. Maybe you bought one in 2019, in which case you've gone up almost $90,000, and you bought another one in 2021, in which case you've gone up, $40,000. That's adding to your overall net worth, which is really cool. While you still have other tax benefits, you have the tenant paying down the loan for you. There's so many different cool aspects of real estate investing. Again, whether you're using it as your primary residence or whether you're buying rental properties. So that's the sales price average broken down over the past several years. Let's take a look at what 2022 versus 2023 looks like broken down month by month. Again, we already know that 2023 is going to have a higher overall sales average than 2022. But when we look at the month by month, once again, January and February this year, honestly, were pretty slow, anecdotally speaking. So just from what I'm seeing as a real estate agent here in Northeast Ohio, it was definitely a much slower January, just because there weren't a lot of houses that were being listed, and everything in real estate has a lag time. And because interest rates peaked basically that first week in November, and then we hit Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, everything kind of came to a standstill toward the last month and a half, I would say, of 2022, and then we were starting to feel it in 2023. So in the first part, that is. So that being said, when you're looking, comparing year over year based by month, we actually saw a lower January in 2023 than we did in January 2022. Went back up in February, about even in March. April, we started seeing a more significant spike. May actually was lower in 2023 than it was in 2022. But then we saw a big run of June, July, August, and September, where 2023 far outpaced those months in 2022. Same thing, October, that's a $23,000 difference almost. And then even more so than that in November so far. So this is basically what we're looking at. You're going to see ebbs and flows. Like, it's completely natural to have lower months and then higher months, lower months and higher months. It's going to look almost like a roller coaster, and that's completely normal. That's part of seasonality, and especially in areas like Northeast Ohio, where right now I'm looking outside and I see snow on the ground. Not a lot of people want to move, or fewer people, I should say, want to move when it's cold, when it's snowy, when the holiday season's here, when kids are in school. That's why almost always the strongest months from a price point perspective would be essentially from May through August. And again, we did see a bump here in October of this year, but usually it's going to be your summer months, which would be, end of May. Once we hit Memorial Day, that's when it really starts taking off. June, July, August, and then I would say Labor Day is when a traditional market would start to slow down a little bit, although we have been anything but a traditional market over the past several years, basically since COVID. And then just to clarify or make this a little easier for you to see, this next slide, it's just all of 2023 for the sales price average, just so you don't get bogged down by, all of the different months over the past 23 months there. This is just, year to date, what we're looking at for the sales price average. So I won't bore you with this since we've gone over this basically in the last slide, but that's what we're looking at there. So days on market is the next story. And as I mentioned, January and February this year, and even March, were significantly higher than they were in 2022 in the areas that I serve most. So you could see, basically, we were up an extra 12 days, 11 days, that first quarter, and that was definitely interest rate related. And I feel like once the spring hit and people kind of got used to higher interest rates for longer, because again, think of start of January 2022 is 3.1%, really starts picking up in June, July, as far as the interest rates. It peaks the last week in October, first week in November at 7.375. And then there's that lag time or the delay where usually it's going to be a 30 to 45 day delay at least. So that's when November, December started picked up even more so January, February. And then once we started getting into those hot summer months again in 2023, we saw it really catch up. Really, it made pretty significant strides in April, with a difference of only 4 days extra on market compared to March, which was 12 days extra on market. Then May, June, and July, it actually ended up flipping. And from there, we've actually had very low days on market since then. So August 2023 compared to August 2022, houses sold quicker on average. Same thing for September, for October, and now even for November. And as you can see here, 15 days on market, this is a very strong seller's market. So usually you would want to see close to the 30 days on market, where that would be pretty close to a balanced market where the seller doesn't have all of the power. Once you're in these teenager, teenager days basically, or fewer, the seller has all of the cards, and usually there's multiple offers, and they could basically pit the potential buyers against each other. So that's what we're seeing right now. And then the last slide is just a number of active listings. So this chart tells you how many houses are currently actively for sale. So not under contract, not sold, not pending, anything like that. And it's broken down per month. So each month it starts over and it says, okay, how many active listings are there this month? How many active listings are there the following month? And it's a snapshot for you. And basically you could see the pre-COVID days, we never really got below 2,500 listings in any given month as far as active listings. These aren't new listings. This is both new listings, but also houses that haven't sold from the prior months, basically, or previous months. But once we started hitting, COVID we all of 2020, after the shutdown in March, we were far and few between where we would see over 2,000 active listings at any given time. 2021, um, despite what the numbers say here, there were actually a ton of new listings in 2021. It's just that they wouldn't stay on the market very long. So they didn't stay active for very long because you would list a house on a Thursday and you'd be lucky to see it on Saturday. So as far as houses that were actively available, we hardly saw a month above 1,500. You saw July, August, and September when there's still a lot of listings and the demand couldn't quite swallow up that supply, where it bumped up. But overall, I mean, we were very few listings active in 2021, even less so in 2022. And then it looked like we were going to turn the corner in 2023 again because days on market picked up. We were like, okay, we're actually seeing over 1,000 or 1,100 active listings at a time for that first quarter, as opposed to under 900 for Q1 of 2022. And then people basically got used to the interest rates where they were, and they're like, all right, screw it, we're gonna buy. Our life situation has dictated that, yes, while we may not be happy about the current interest rates, this is what it is. It's the new norm, and that's what we're going to go with then. And basically from April on, you could see when we're comparing to the previous year, we've had fewer number of active listings every month since then. So that's basically what we're looking at. My prediction, as I had mentioned at the top of this video, is that if you could find a deal from now until the middle part of January, I think you need to jump on it, especially investors who are looking to flip, because the people who are trying to sell right now are doing so for a reason. The market, as far as selling, is probably, even though it is still a very strong seller's market, as I just pointed out with the days on market, it's about as weak as it's going to be over the next couple of months. And then once spring hits, I honestly believe that interest rates are going to go down. Inflation numbers have been coming in very well, basically what the Fed wants to see. The jobs reports has been basically what the Fed wants to see, and we're starting to see the 10-year Treasury yield dip down a little, and we still have a really big spread between the 10-year Treasury yield and the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which often those two do go up and down, at a very similar pace. Usually the spread between the two is closer to, I believe it was 150 to 200 basis points, and right now the spread is closer to 300 basis points. So if that spread normalizes a little bit too, I could see interest rates going down, where right now, what I'm looking at was, I believe we were close to 7.3 for the 30-year national average. I could see that being in the high sixes come springtime. And it's one thing being in the high sixes when people were used to, 3 and 4%. It's another thing to be in the high sixes when interest rates touched 8% this year. So they're just comparing it, when you're looking at 6.75 compared to 8, 6.75 looks pretty good. Whereas when you're comparing 6.75 to, 3.75, 6.75 looks pretty crappy. So I think interest rates are going to go down. I think that millennials are basically entering that peak home buying season, and some Gen Zers are getting ready. Gen Xers are obviously still buying, and just depends on what the baby boomers are going to be doing as well, whether they want to downsize, whether they want to sell and move into a condo or anything like that then too. But yeah, I mean, I think that if you could buy a distressed property right now, flip it or basically fix it up, renovate it over the course of the next 2 to 3 months. And if you can list in early spring, March, I think that you're going to honestly make a killing off of it because I think the market's going to be ready for some inventory at that time because we just don't have enough supply right now compared to the amount of demand that we have. So that's my prediction for the first quarter of 2024. I do think that interest rates will go down. I think that home prices will stay strong, and I think that when I say strong, I think those 10% plus days of home price appreciation for year over year growth is over for the time being, but I could very easily still see a 3 to 5% increase for next year as well. So if you have any questions about the housing market, specifically in Northeast Ohio, feel free to reach out to me. I love talking about this stuff, and I'd be happy to talk with you whether you have a differing opinion and you just want to converse about that. That's not a problem. Or if you do have questions for me, I'd be happy to do some additional research for you or give you my 2 cents. Again, this is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and have a great day.